Welcome back to another special Wall Street Confidential. We're bringing you some special investing tips straight out of the pages of Jim's new book, Stay Mad for Life.
Thank you, Brittany.
Jim, one of the lessons you give in your book is never say never when it comes to a takeover.
Yeah, I mean, this is one, by the way, and I've had fights. I'm not going to mention names on air because I always get in trouble. I've had fights with people who have said, Jim, so-and-so will never get taken over. So-and-so will never get a bid. And what I always say is the only way to ensure you will not get a bid is to not be a public company. The way it works is when you're a public company is basically you are for sale at all times. Management may not want to sell, but there can always be a Michael Corleone can't resist bid. And I saw this with Dow Jones over and over again. I heard people say never could get a bid, never could get a bid, never could get a bid. I had a big position. I owned 4% of Dow Jones in the 90s and was quite confident that you get a bid, even though the company assured me over and over again. The assurances are all bogus. Never listen to companies. If the right price comes, they will sell.
No matter what management
says. No matter what,
says.
including the New York Times.
How about your lesson that says don't let the market scare you out of a good long-term?
Well, a lot of times what will happen is that you'll own a stock. Let me use an example of, I go into Stock Picker all the time. There'll be a stock I like, Shaw Group, and someone will be some insider selling, and then someone will say something negative about infrastructure, and the stock will go down 10 points, and people say, Jim, what's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter? They don't understand. It's the way the market works. Sometimes stocks just get hammered. And if you listen to the chatter, you will sell rather than buy. I always look at sell-offs as, because I like to keep cash on the sidelines, one of the points I mentioned in the book. I like to look at sell-offs as the opportunity to buy at a better price than I deserve. And what other people look at is like, wow, the market really is scary right now. The market is never scary, okay? There are individual stocks that have problems, and those can be scary. But the market itself is never scary. The market is reacting to inflation, or it's reacting to recession. That's all it ever reacts to. So if you have a view that your company is not going to be part of this inflationary issue, or that it's still going to have good earnings, and if you have a view that your company's not part of the recession, then why are you fretting? You should be thinking about buying.
Oh, and thinking long term, right?
Yes.
How about your lesson that says piggybacking can be a winning strategy if you remember to stay on the
right.
pig?
Well, a lot of times, like I'll be in something, and a guy I've done a lot of work, and I'll get it from Al Tucher and Stock Picker, and I'll make a quick buck on it. And I'll say, well, go. And then it turns out that the guy loved it the whole way, and I didn't. And it was the one example I gave was Rich Pizzino, who's having a very tough time this year. Pizzino Investments. He's too big in Fannie and Freddie, but he had a position in an insurance company, and I made 10 points very quickly for ActionAlertsPlus.com. And while I was selling it, he was increasing his position, and then he caught a double and then another double, and nothing had changed. Now you can say, well, listen, Jim, you could have listened to Fannie Mae and lost a lot. Well, the answer is no. Fannie Mae was a situation that I could assess myself, having to do with the mortgage business. He had discovered a company, this American Capital Physicians. He had discovered this company and done all the work, and it did not have anything to do with housing. What I'm saying is that when a guy, a professional, has done a lot of work on a company you've never heard of, and he's buying it and buying it and buying it, let it ride. When he's buying a company that you can assess yourself and it doesn't say, Fannie Mae, you don't necessarily take his word for it.
And when it comes to tracking other investors, you actually mentioned in that chapter StockPicker.com.
Yeah, well, I just think, look, I go into StockPicker.com every day. A lot of times it's not flattering to me. And sometimes, I even had a shout out with some guy the other day where I just said, look, you or me, pal. I can't come in here every time and have you mortify me. Life's too short. And I wasn't one of these things where I was saying, okay, look, I feel like that that you're just a joker. I think he's just malicious. This guy was malicious. Mm-hmm. And it makes it so that I don't want to participate. I'm just being honest, Wall Street Confidential.
Of course.
But for the most part, the Stock Picker people are delightful, and they want to learn, and I want to learn too. I make a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of calls. If you make a lot of calls, you'll make a lot of mistakes. If you're an umpire and you're calling every game, I'm sure not every strike that you call is a strike. But I also recognize that in Stock Picker, I learn a lot of people's habits, and that's why I like to look at it, really. I see people panicking in certain situations. I see people worried in certain situations, and I can allay that risk, but it also keeps me thinking about what people are really thinking. And if we took out the ad hominem attacks of me, it would be an even better site.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Yeah. Stay with us as we go through more special tips straight out of Stay Mad for Life, and stay with Wall Street Confidential.